Friends and comrades, greetings from Islamabad. First of all, my heartiest congratulations on the 75th anniversary of the establishment of the People's Republic of China, a landmark event in human history. And I'm so glad that the Friends of Socialist China are celebrating this event in London as well as in New York. My heartfelt felicitations to all our friends who are gathered here in London as well as in New York. When we celebrate the Chinese Revolution, this epoch-making development led by the Communist Party of China under the great leadership of Chairman Mao, we also need to analyze some of its track record of success, of achievements in what has been the world's largest country. I personally have been very fortunate that out of these 75 years, I have been a witness to 50 of these years. Because 50 years ago, when I was a teenager, I was 17 years old, when I first went to China as head of a youth friendship group between Pakistan and China. And I have seen China in the first phase of the revolution under Chairman Mao, Premier Zhou Enlai, Marshal Chude. Then I've seen the phase of reform and opening up under the great leader Deng Xiaoping. And now I'm seeing firsthand the rise of China. So revolution, reform, and rise. These three phases I've seen personally. And in the last 50 years, I've traveled over 100 times to China, different cities, different parts, different stages, different periods. And the turnaround in China is amazing. It's unprecedented in human history. And many a time I'm asked, what are the reasons for the China success story? What are the ingredients of this success story? I would say there are a number of these which I'd like to briefly list. Number one, the quality of leadership, which was produced by the Communist Party of China during all these phases, and very difficult phases, because China faced a lot of opposition from imperialism, a lot of opposition from hegemonism in the region, and as a socialist country upholding the banner of Marxism-Leninism, it was not easy for China to survive in that period when it was relatively weak, it was relatively poor, and it was isolated. But I'm proud to say that one of the countries that stood by China consistently in the last 60 years, since we developed that special relationship with China, has been Pakistan. So the first ingredient, quality of leadership. Second, willingness to do a course correction, which they did. They opened up, they reformed, they moved on, they started people-centric development, lifting 800 million people out of poverty. Then also, another key element, continuity of policy through different periods, different decades. And then also another important element of the China success story, a humility and a willingness to learn from others. Deng Xiaoping went on his first tour abroad after assuming the leadership of the Communist Party of China in 1978. He went to Singapore, a small island state, but he wanted to learn from the Singapore success story. And finally, I think in terms of the ingredients of the China success story, a peaceful foreign policy. China is the only country in the world that has risen without conquest, without colonization, without invasion, without aggression, without occupation. And I think this is also quite remarkable. And when we see in the current epoch, there is a historic change. What President Xi Jinping rightly says, once in a century changes. The global center of gravity is shifting from the west to the east. The American century has come to an end, and we are seeing the dawn of the Asian century. And in that, the rise of China is something that we in the global south welcome warmly, because this is a source of strength to small and medium countries. And China has led with development. The Belt and Road Initiative is the biggest developmental and diplomatic initiative of the 21st century. And Pakistan, through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is the flagship of this BRI, is one of the major beneficiaries of China's people-centered development. And friends and comrades, when we are discussing events in the world, we see two contrasting narratives. The United States of America still has a security-centric, military-dominated worldview based on militarization of international relations, based on a Cold War mentality, based on containment, which we reject, because that would be debilitating and destabilizing for the global south. Conversely, China is presenting a narrative of connectivity and cooperation. And that is why the Belt and Road Initiative is so popular. And finally, I'd like to say that those who talk of China in negative terms, they better read The Economist, which is published from London. The story which came on 15th of June, and the cover story was China, the scientific superpower. That China is now leading in science and technology. And this has also been documented in the recent study done by Harvard University, the great tech rivalry, China versus the United States. So we welcome China's development in that context. That development serves the interests of humankind. China is leading in globalization, in climate change, in promoting peace, development, connectivity, and economic cooperation. And we feel that supporting China, being a partner with China, is being on the right side of history. Thank you so much.